This is I'm going to be reading today, chapter 15 of story Torn Lace. Um, I should do my introduction. Everybody has an introduction. Every streamer. I will be doing it as the retired troll king. Again, I've been trolling the internet since 1996, and I'm sick of it. I'm tired. I'm going to leave the other trolls like Brittany Venti to take over my trolling duties. Right. So Queen Troll Brittany Venti, the queen of the trolls, and I'm a retired troll, troll king. I started all. I've been basically trolling every website out there since the very beginning. The old IRC chats, various left wing ones, Ain't Cool News, different racialist ones out there, Stormfront, VNN, and then moving on. I think I Reddit, but then I just got bored of it. I don't know. It's you can only just argue with so many people about over nothing, and kind of like manipulate people. There's only you can only do it for so long, like anything else, before you just get sick of it, right? So anyway, here I am in my closet. So anyway, just kind of update for me. I've just been feeling okay. I need to having a dental appointment on this Wednesday, as well as a sit down with a vocational rehab. I'm trying to get trained in something else like video editing, or because my passion was movies when I was a kid, when I was like 18, long time ago. But I just never very very good with people, and I have personal problems. I still do, but I was like 18, and still not able to control my emotions, and never really been good with people. So I'd like to get back into filmmaking, video editing, and making movies, and which I never really did in the beginning. I like I said before, I was actually got a bachelor's in the arts, writing. I'm still trying to write, trying to get published. It's difficult. There's a lot of reflection, I think, more than anything else that helps me out. Like I can figure out what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong for the most part. But yeah, I wrote this one story. It only petered out at like 20,000 words. I think like 100 pages roughly, and just kind of got depressed because it just it didn't flesh out like I thought it would be. Like a lot of writers will like write like a lot of shit and then they'll just edit it, they'll whittle it down. For me, I have like the opposite problem where I'll like summarize things, and I have a problem expanding like subplots and characters. So I'm gonna try to concentrate on expanding, like sort of. I'm gonna tell more, I'm gonna go over the thoughts and feelings of my characters more. I'm gonna go down for more of the subplots. I'm gonna go more over creating new characters and introducing them as well too. It is a science fiction story, so I have been feeling more confident of that. My I don't know, it's kind of difficult. I'm 40 years old here, and it was only this year that I earlier got diagnosed with autism, and so I'm on the spectrum on that. And I guess it's been difficult because it's affected my career, my relationship, and I don't know. It's kind of depressing when you realize you tried to research and there's really nothing out there. If you're my age, you really you got to get it young, some treatment or else you're fucked, right? But I don't know. Well, I'm streaming to you guys at Twitch, and so hopefully I'll be feeling better about stuff. I don't know. I'd really be a real boost to my morale. If I was published in some way. I don't care about the money at this point. I just, hey, here's an accomplishment. I wrote something and it got published. But so far, the literary agents and publishing industry doesn't care for my work, But I'm gonna hopefully I can get it fleshed out to near 80,000 words. So I don't know if I can hire an editor. I mean, I don't know about that. I don't have the money for it. I don't have any money actually. But who knows? I'm gonna try to keep up, and it's tough, man. Feeling confident or trying to find the motivation for anything, especially when you're my age and you just feel at everything in life, right? And it's very difficult to kind of like find something you're passionate about. Give a reason to live, I mean, I don't know, man. If I had a family, at least I could have that, right? I could feel like I have to support them, right? To have the will to move on, right, and still live. Still I just find it difficult to find that to will to really live and so that's my personal demons. I've been feeling sick, past week. I think it's at that To Succeed center that I go to in Denver. I mean, you just have all these these kind of just people that they have their own problems. That's the thing, is that my problems aren't their problem. I'm not bipolar. I don't have schizophrenia. I'm not afflicted with that. I mean, I admit I drink too much, way too much, and I'm trying to cut back on that. It's tough though, because it's I don't think it's that I'm addicted to the alcohol. It's just that I don't know, man. It's just the depression, because I'm on the spectrum and there's nothing I can do about it, And I guess that's what's the most depressing things, that I don't feel like there's anything in my life that I've accomplished or I have to look forward to the next day, right? I mean, like I said, I've never been good with people, and I hurt my back on a job some years ago, and so it's very tough to find anything because especially I'm 40. Who the fuck's gonna hire somebody who's 40 and they're starting out, right? So it's I'm trying to do what I love to do, and fuck everyone else. I don't know if it will get published, and I don't know. I just, like I said though, it's not even about the money anymore. Being a famous author, I just want to get just a step of accomplishment, right? That hey, you're good at doing something, right? Maybe you're not good at people. Maybe you're not good at math. Maybe you're not good at science, or maybe you're not good with relationships. But hey, you got that one good thing you're good at, right? And you got that, and that'll at least carry you forward somewhat, right? I don't even have that, so I don't know. It's very difficult, and at SF State, I went to there. I didn't get a lot of help. In fact, I was really treated it was a very hostile environment to me, and so I don't really regret getting a degree in the arts, in English creative writing. I just pissed off that I didn't get any support while I was there. No, there are no internships. Just people there just really just act like just didn't give a shit. Like they were there for the paycheck and that's it. It's it was really kind of especially as a liberal, San Francisco, right? They're assholes, just as big as assholes as conservatives, but they're assholes in their own way, though, right? Anyway, though, I'm gonna digress. I'm gonna get to my story. This is chapter 15, called Siege. And kind of summarize, if you remember the last chapter, it had Marie, where she was actually planning to abandon her husband with her child, and that of course ended up in disaster. She fled from the BART station underneath, going from San Francisco towards Oakland. She fled from that. Turned out it was an ambush by Susan. So not only did Susan kind of fuck over the people fleeing the city, but she fucked over her father apparently too, because he, in those huge Titantrons they call them, you could see his voice. He was booming overhead like, "Oh, my daughter betrayed me. We've been betrayed by our allies." And so it looks like towards the end of 14, some shit's gonna really start to go down here, right? We really kind of seeing things come to a head. Because before, the situation was stable in San Francisco. The federal government wasn't launching an offensive into San Francisco, and it's pretty easy to see why, because the troops they had were very demoralized and were on the verge of starvation. So you can see why they weren't doing any offensives into San Francisco. But then we had them try to do offensive north of San Francisco and east towards Oakland. Those both failed. But that was because of Susan basically betrayed her father. So it's kind of interesting to see where we're gonna be at. Okay. So anyway, this is chapter 15, called Siege, and so here we go. Let me read the story to you. Aside from the interim regime, nobody knew exactly what was going on or what had occurred the night when explosions rocked the northern area of the Presidio base. Civilian access was immediately restricted to even fewer zones, and a new curfew instituted. As such, it was difficult to ascertain the overall damage or casualties to the city. The loose alliance Dean had forged with Russia and China had been broken as confirmed by official news reports. The two foreign nations had leaked Dean's planned offensive to the feds, and as a result turned their former benevolence into a very real blockade of San Francisco. No word had been reached on the fate of Richard Adams' Pacific Fleet or the Admiral himself. In fact, news reports were the only program being broadcast soon after, as all major networks had been blocked from viewership. In place, patriotic anthems and old war movies were broken intermittently by fewer brand name commercials, internet and radio likewise. And relying on Susan at this point had not been an option since their falling out. It didn't matter in the slightest anyhow. The Citadel was surrounded on all sides by military personnel lined against the vast complex for blocks on end where his daughter was holed up. She was accused of providing the encrypted code to the Russians, causing the powering down of the laser defense system, as well as giving out the plane and coordinates for the general surprise northern offensive. Being seen around the area via confiscated security recordings brought suspicion down on her, as several military personnel visited her in the presence of Joe. "We're not accusing you of anything, Marie. Your partner, despite his AWOL status during the conflict," Joe's mouth tightened and his eyes blazed at the remark, but he kept his cool, "is an outstanding soldier, and we're proud to have him on our side, that's for sure." A gruff man looking about 50 years of age was pleasant enough with his questioning, as were several of his comrades standing nearby, all with smiles never touching their sparkling eyes. "So with everything we know about you, it's obvious you're not spying on anything or of that nature. We just want to know the complete layout of this complex. To be honest, we did rely on Susan and her security personnel for internal matters. Usually, we don't disclose such information, but the cat is out of the bag, so to speak. So just anything unusual about the place or people that caught your eye? I'm sure you never met her personally, but maybe a conversation overheard or something close." Joe glowers between all parties involved. He had been reluctant to give his approval for this interview, but they both knew the choice wasn't theirs to decide in this matter. Marie had done her best to cover up as much as possible her relationship with Susan. So many half-truths were given out to them. The story she concocted was she spotted Susan a few times here and there, but mainly she dealt with her secretary called Athena. A few eyebrows were raised at that name. Satisfied, they left their electronic notepads and stiff poses telling of a lifestyle bathed in discipline. He became more and more withdrawn since then, and for some strange reason had never brought up any suspicious questions on her and Susan's past relationship and the blowback entangling them. Not even her blatant lies on the matter. She certainly had no intention of bringing up what had happened to her in the BART tunnel or what had happened to so many who tried to escape. Did he know about that? He had to. That must be why. His mind is somewhere else. Flashes of sounds and images of his comrades, wives, and children brushed the stimuli of her emotion she tried to keep buried deep in the back of her mind. "What's wrong, Joe? What happened to you that night? You can tell me anything. I'm here for you always. You're my sword and I'm your shield, remember?" He glared at her and shook his head as he readjusted the ebony body armor as he spoke. "You know I can't. Did you forget what happened the last time we started flapping our gums?" Pressing an index finger to his lips, he gestures to a mess of scratched paper he insisted they used now for any conversation that might pertain to the regime, no matter how myopic. Too much of his newly crowned urban pacification armor was designed after Susan's security team. At least with his past army gear, he still wore his usual steadfast grin with the confidence she always needed. Now it chiseled his large frame and transferred him into something more robotic. The summer dragged on with a siege within another siege. The feds had apparently been content to let their blockade run its course. Military helicopters and jets of vague nationality ripped through the city's skyline. Chased shortly after by a missile launched somewhere in hot pursuit, she could barely see through the kitchen window finishing up the dishes. Joe pats her on the back and calms the anxiety by mentioning how the feds wouldn't dare strike such a valuable city like San Francisco unless there was a military target available. Other problems cropped up as well that took precedence over the war. The lack of water was a very real concern. When she turned on the faucet and only droplets came out from the tap, she reminded herself the feds had finally cut Hetch Hetchy off from the Sierra Nevadas, so even gardening was out of the question. What once was Marie's pride and joy was now nothing more than a sparse, mini desert of browning weeds and grass. Even with this desalination plants opening up, the remaining water supplies were always rationed along with the food. This became a painful reminder when she tried to add something exotic to their evening meal. More dire than the above for the immediate, inflation was also taking a toll on essentials like soap and toilet paper. Even the well-fed upper crust of the city's elite were more gaunt. But maybe that was to be expected after reformed police units had gone to door confiscating food and supplies. After she spied two men with disheveled profiles following her home one day, Joe had forbidden her from making any more trips to the store unless absolutely necessary. So less and less were they going out for walks, even around the neighborhood. Every day she lent a thankful prayer to God. Susan and Joe being a serviceman, there was more than enough money to be able to cover those rising prices. With valuable foresight, Marie had managed to stock up as much as possible with the remaining Continentals she had left. Used to taking long, hot showers everywhere, she felt grossed out every time she glanced in the mirror. Adam's baby wipes had to be used to clean her body parts and for makeup removal. The military, of course, got first priority for everything, so she at least never had to worry about Joe. All this she reflected on during the beginning of another gloomy autumn day, greeting her over breakfast. After chopping up some shriveled potatoes, she combs through the well-stocked pantry for a can of refried beans when the sound of their doorbell chimes across the living room and into the kitchen. Panic fills her with different scenarios, culminating with Joe coming home to a scene of terror. He demanded before she armed herself with a pistol and go shooting with him, but for once she put her foot down. She hated guns and everything associated with them. She smooths the wrinkles from her tattered skirts, then opens the door and steps back in surprise. "Jen, I haven't seen you in ages. How are you?" A stupid question she berated herself for even asking. The weight and flushed skin had now turned back into skin and bone. She was starting to mimic something out of a zombie in one of those old cheesy horror movies Marie used to watch. "Marie," Jennifer begins with some hesitation. She licks her lips in either thirst or hunger. Bulging eyes dart back and forth. Her hair had an unwashed, brittle texture. As if by grabbing one of the split ends, a piece would snap off like a pretzel. "Haven't seen you in a while, too. It's been way too long. Come in, please." Needing little urging from Marie, the pale stick figure glides into the living room. Where's Adam? Sleeping like a bug in our room, but you can take a peek if you like. He's grown so much. Something to eat? No, look at you. Of course, I'm cooking up some stew. Jennifer nods and moves to the kitchen. Sitting down, her chin is buried in her chest, looking down at her hands stuffed between her legs. "How are your grandparents?" Marie offers, looking to spark any conversation. "Oh, they're fine. Noonie and Papa are doing better. They haven't needed any medical attention or like any stuff like that for a month." "That's good. All this fighting can't be good for their blood pressure. I remember my own," Marie whispers, fingering her silver locket. Poking the stew for the right consistency, she spoons 2 bowls and lays out one for her friends. Barely waiting for the steaming bowl to cool off, Jennifer digs in. Yelps of pain, along with gobs of food poured out of her mouth, she sticks back in when cooled enough. "Slow down, Jen. At least drink some water. Marie pours some bottled water from the fridge and sets it down. Most of the liquid falls out of Jennifer's mouth before resuming. Done with a solid portion, she grabs the bowl and shoves it near her face. Every area of the inside is covered with a hungry tongue producing a sick smacking sound each second. Finished, she drops the bowl and stares off into the backyard with a far away gaze. Marie sits down next to her and closes her hand around Jennifer's thin bony appendages. How are you really doing, Jen? She flinches at this prescient observation leveled at a whisper. Her eyes refuse to meet with Marie's, even as her hand is still motionless in her grasp. Long seconds drag with every nervous tick from the young blonde. Turning her head, Jennifer's eyes are a dangerous mix of hate and envy. How are you doing? You're not going hungry. I can see that. We've had a lot of break-ins lately. I've even seen some people trespassing into the boarded up ones. From people you wouldn't think of before. Some groups have pulled together for mutual protection. Even the security can't be trusted. I'm surprised you're still here. I know. Practically every military family has been transferred over near the Presidio. I don't know why. From what I've seen, it's... Well, we talked about it, but we have our own plans, Marie finishes. Each word being slowly drawn out as she realizes she may have been giving out too much information for some reason. What am I afraid of? That ship has sailed. Oh, I see. Another bout of silence. Marie breaks with an outreach of sympathy. Stay with us, Jen. Please. Bring Noonie and Papa over. We can make accommodations. No, I couldn't, really. Jen, even Joe is saying it's not safe out there anymore. Too many desperate people. Bring them over tonight. We won't mind. Her smile touches her eyes and beams at her emaciated friends. A choking sound stirs from Jennifer's mouth. Really, I just need some groceries from the outlets. But it's not open today. Jennifer shakes her head. Today, it's open today. The Continentals are still good. I know you have plenty. Must have plenty. I've seen you coming and going every day with fat bags of food. Marie pulls her hand away. Have you been spying on us? For how long? No, I just noticed you always walking back every day with a lot of that food. It's no secret. You're hoarding. Other people are suffering, you know. Marie stares closer. Her empathy picks up something seriously wrong. Okay, Jennifer, let me go check on Adam first. I'll see what I have for you. She hurries to the bedroom, pulls out her phone, and texts Joe. Something is wrong with Jennifer. She's starving. Acting really strange. She wants me to go with her to the store. She hurries the message. Adam's still asleep in his crib. It's no exaggeration. He really is bigger now. His baby teeth are already showing. Her thoughts drift when the phone vibrates the incoming message. Don't go with her. Too many downtown and Main Street. Desperate. Idiots open the outlet. Almost a riot. I'll be home shortly. I know about you, Marie. His orders ended with any speculation over what to do. She'd probably give a few plastic containers full of basics and encourage her to stay at least for Joe to escort her back. It's all she could do.
Oh, we're gonna... Oh, why Billy Ray Cyrus? Because he's a musical genius, that's why. I mean, you know, he produced, Miley Ray Cyrus, who's a genius in her own right? So, that's why I have Billy Ray Cyrus as my avatar. You know, he's a genius. What can I say?
Walking back to the living room, Marie still puzzles over why Jennifer would want to risk the mob violence when she was confronted by a handgun leveled at her waist. Her lips slacken and she steps back. After all she had seen and done with Susan, nothing is shocking anymore. It's almost a dream. So surreal are her friend's actions. Jennifer? The only word she could manage. They've got them. They're all I have, Marie. They gave me this gun. Told me to bring you down to this outlet. They were watching you too. A slight hyperventilation of shaking almost causes her to drop the gun. Who are they? Marie asks. Okay, Jen, and then what? After hearing no reply. Bring the money with you. All you have. Okay, take it easy. I have to grab my purse, okay? Marie raises her arms to the air in the air and moves ever so lethargic to the couch. She shows her purse to Jennifer, who nods back and gestures to the door. Marie exits with Jennifer right behind. A scene of chaos swirls in every direction when they reach the outlet opening into Mission Street. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We've been standing in line here for hours now and nothing. An older woman in her 50s complains to a young woman next to her. I know, I can't go home empty-handed. They've got to give us something. They can't just let us starve. Oh, that's what they intend. We're just animals to them. Biggest mistake was sticking around when that asshole Dean showed up. A man who must have been quite handsome once upon a time bites his opinion. The sunken hollow of their eye sockets seemed empty of hope, and the skin over their faces drummed tight. Their cheekbones are displayed as such a macabre exhibition. This package is all wrapped together with a stench of unwashed clothes and desperation, the latter wafting off in a vile scent. The once affluent now only being reduced to primal nature. The line for the ration outlet stretched for miles to the east, with many more clustering around the street corners. Eyes gravitate to Marie, checking out her healthy skin with jealous suspicion. Most, however, trade stares and mutter to anyone close enough within range, seemingly unsure if the vast police units nearby were listening. More than a few vocal dissenters had been pounced on, then dragged away screaming to God knows where. Marie cranes her neck, hoping to find Joe until she feels a dull sensation of something pressing against her back. Behind the store, in the alley. She glances back at the gun tucked into a side pocket. Both of Jennifer's hands are inside. Marie complies and stops several feet from the iron wrought gate with a razor wire lining the top. It's not locked, Jennifer snaps. Marie swallows a thick film stuck in her throat, then pulls the latch, swinging the door open. The rusty hinges squeal with a steady, shrill tone. Boxes and wooden pallets line the back, with green shrubbery on the other side crawling up a long concrete wall separating the suburban area. Two men in expensive-looking tailored clothes march up to them. Shouts of protest still ring from the streets. Shadows lining the alley play tricks with their appearances. All right, hand it over, the nearest one grunts. Thick wraparound shades cover his eyes, but his expensive suit and clipped, educated accent give him away as one of the desperates. Marie nods and hands over her purse. He flicks through the feminine items. His dour face is a mirror image of his friends. That's it? Just 500? He remarks with disbelief while holding the currency near her face, shaking it in anger. No, she's got to have more than that. And plenty of food. Just look at her, his partner chimes in. My Nunu and Papa, where are they? Jennifer bursts with impatience. Jesus Christ, bitch. Fuck your grandma and your father and your mother. We don't need you anymore. He spits out those last words before he turns back to Marie. We're going back to your place now. No! Jennifer pulls the gun from her sweater and aims the end of the barrel at the two. With a surprise, they fall back. Loudspeakers ordering the crowd to disperse, intermixed with the rumble of military vehicles. Moments flicker by. Marie inches to the side near the empty crates. A shade of soft pink pierces the cloudy morning, ignored by all. The shaded man raises his hand in a gesture of peace. I'm sorry. Hold on, Jennifer. Well, you see, Nana and Poppy, we just need more than this. A lot more. Be reasonable. It's Noonie and Papa, you fucking assholes, she spits back. Shouts from behind, then all parties turn around in surprise at a string of police units dressed in dark body armor, chasing a small group towards them. As they watch the group run past, the police halt, raise their assault rifles, and quickly drop Jennifer in a hail of bullets. Marie watches her land nearby, hidden away from the action. She groans as her former babysitter stares back with glassy eyes, an expression frozen in pain and fear. The two men give a shout, then scramble backwards, following the group with the right police trailing shortly behind. Huddling, she cowers into herself, hearing the chaos of gunfire and screams. The madness dying down, Marie moves her hand in a shaking line and strokes the lifeless face. No. None of this is real. It's all a dream. All of it, she whispers. Seeing no one moving save a few bodies, Marie rises and walks towards the main street, into a scene right out of a Hollywood apocalypse movie. Flames sprout up and lick the store even as the riot police use live ammo. Mobs are running with cans of food in their arms, only to be gunned down on sight, replaced by another horde trying to grab the rare commodity. Murray turns and flees as fast as her feet and adrenaline would carry. The way is paved before her with pink colors flooding the sky, creating a dazzling image illuminating everything. Reaching home, she enters and slams the front door closed. She heads to the bedroom as the faint baby squeal of Adam waking up breaks the silence. Ignoring him, she paces the room. Both hands are plastered to her face. Got to flee. To where? To where? Murray jumps at the sound of the front door opening and slamming shut with a bang. Joe? Heavy footsteps marching with the steady precision of military training thump down the hallway. She creeps back until her bottom presses against the dresser, a clump of anxiety turning her insides into complex knots. Strangely enough, seem to melt away. Everything is okay. Why not? Her vision is filled with Joe standing in the doorway, dressed out in the black riot armor. His mouth twitches and eyelids blink constantly like a minor case of epilepsy. Joe, thank God you're here. She pours everything out in a stuttered rush. Jennifer forced me into the outlet. She had a gun. Her family was kidnapped and she got shot. She died right next to me. Joe? He casually pulls off his gloves and flings them onto the bed before approaching her. Why, Marie? He finally speaks. I loved you. Why this? Loved me? You still love me. What's wrong? He turns his head away for a brief moment, then back. His pheromones pour out venom, pungent to her. They saw that video of yours. That filthy porn. Everyone at the base, the mess hall, the gun range. Everyone. My wife, the whore. No. Her anxiety is completely dissipated. An insane giggle escapes from her lips that she muffles with an open hand. Why did I just do that? Don't laugh. I loved you, he whispers. I took you from the fucking gutter and tried to help. I tried. The blow comes out of nowhere. Stars blind her. Marie opens her eyes and looks into a mirror. A trickle of blood slides from her nose and runs down a painful bruise already forming on her cheek. She turns around and stares at him. Tears fill her eyes. I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry. I know. I'm a whore. I know. Her voice breaks. I tried, Joe. Oh God, I tried. I never had sex. I never kissed or slept with another man. No man. If you saw everything, you would know that. You were always the only one. You were starving, Joe. You tell me, what else am I supposed to do? What else? Tears pour down both cheeks. His breathing turns to a rapid nasal sound like a machine gun of emotions. The shame. The fucking shame to our family. Is that what you like? Is that what turns you on? Having the shit beat out of you? I can't even look at you now. Fuck me. Fuck me. I know that. I know I'm fucked up. Fresh tears roll down her cheeks. But please, just listen to me. We can move on. We always have. Just listen. Just. Lunging forward with terrible speed and strength, Joe grabs her arm and slaps her again on the cheek. A new sound intermingles with Adam's high-pitched wailing like a massive hive of bees pouring from somewhere. But this was familiar. Something that they heard months ago. Her emotions are everywhere. I hate Joe. I'll kill him and that fucking baby. Always crying. No, I love Joe and Adam. I love Jennifer. Jennifer, that lying cunt. And Susan. Tossing her on the floor, he rips the heart-shaped locket from her neck, then blouse, then her skirts. He sprawls on top as lips find hers and lock with a full mouth embrace. No, Joe, you can beat me, but not this. Don't do this. Another hand slaps her in quiet submission. A tight vice locks her against her throat. Her eyes wide, Marie gags for a breath of oxygen. Clothes and armor thud next to them. The humming sound ends abruptly as Marie finds her vision. She stares in curiosity as someone or something grabs Joe's arm and flings him backwards, hammering with a loud thud into the wall behind him. What threw him aside like a flaccid doll is something she had never dreamed possible could exist. Ooh. And that is the end of chapter 15. Wow, and what a great one, huh? Wow, a lot of emotion. So basically, it is months have been rolling by with a siege within a siege. Obviously, as described in the very beginning of the chapter, Susan Dean has basically betrayed her father out to the Russians and Chinese, um, and so basically, George Dean has discovered that, and I'm assuming that Susan Dean's fellow soldiers or her own personal bodyguards are holed up in that citadel, and the George Dean's forces are like, outside surrounding the citadel, with the federal government surrounding the city, right? So it's like a siege within a siege. But basically, as the months go by, we see kind of like, the effects of starvation. The supply lines have been cut off from Russia and China. They're not getting supplies in. They're completely closed off. They're isolated. Even the water supply from Hetch Hetchy, which, if you're not familiar with San Francisco, Hetch Hetchy is a lake in the kind of near Yosemite where their water is piped in. So if you don't know San Francisco, that's a little fact. That's how San Francisco actually gets its water supply, through the Hetch Hetchy reservoir system. That's cut off. So water's in short supply. Food is in short supply. So obviously this is a situation that can stand for a long time, right? I mean, if you look at history, that's basically the best way to, if you have the time and the troops and the resources, you can cut off a city and literally starve them into submission, which was happened a lot during the Middle Ages in ancient times. So anyway, they're isolated, cut off, and really, so we see like, kind of give it a face to it is like Jennifer, the babysitter, who they were first kind of let go because their own provisions have been getting low. And so basically, Jennifer comes over and she wants to help or whatever. So be concerned. Again, Marie kind of texts Joe and says, okay, well, what should I do? Jennifer's here. She's desperate. And Joe's like, whoa, hold on. Don't give her anything. Just wait till I get there, right? Fortunately, Jennifer has a gun in her hand. And basically, you're coming with me down to this place here. So she basically follows or forced to go to the behind the rationing outlet, where you can already see like a mob is there that's formed. And for some reason, they're not giving out any food. And so we're seeing the escalation. Kind of like how we're seeing the escalation in the, when they meet the two gentlemen. And it turns out that they've actually been stalking, Marie. Because basically, she's the one who's been, going back and forth between the outlets, the store, and her house. So it'd probably be, especially if you're desperate, in a desperate situation, you'd probably be noticing that, right? People walking back and forth with constant, bags of food, provisions, right? And so, so basically, if you're desperate enough, you're going to get a firearm. You're probably going to maybe, blackmail somebody to do what you want, right? To get this person to go down. So you don't get this. So suspicion isn't on you. The suspicion is on Jennifer, not you, who are planning this ambush. But anyway, though, it turns out that that they basically don't give a shit about Jennifer. They don't even respond to her. Like, they got what they want, the money, and it's not enough. They're even basically saying, "Hey, let's go back to Marie's place and get all her food there, right? Let's do that right now." But basically, Jennifer's pissed off. She has a gun, and they know it, so they try to placate her. But in the meantime, though, there's this growing pink thing on the horizon, and if you remember from the other chapters, there's this huge pink glow on the horizon that somehow causes their emotions to go all haywire. So basically, I think that's kind of like maybe the catalyst of what's happening, because basically a riot breaks out, and when the riot police show up, they see Jennifer with a firearm. They gun her down. The two guys who were trying to extort Marie, they freak out. They run off, and Marie ends up going back to her house. Of course, Joe shows up shortly after, and basically is emotionally compromised. Again, something to do with that pink glow is causing their emotions to go haywire and to act like they normally wouldn't. Because if you see like what Joe texted her in the very beginning of the chapter is like, I know what you're doing. But it didn't really seem to be too upset, right? just seemed to be more kind of like annoyed. So if that pink glow didn't happen in the skyline, I mean, I'm not sure what he might have been disappointed, but I don't think he would have beat her, let alone trying to rape her, right? So I think that pink glow is causing like those emotions to, to cause kind of people to go haywire. Hey, I've done cocaine before and ecstasy, so I know, like doing shit you usually wouldn't normally do. I've been kicked out of a lot of bars for that, for being on drugs. Crazy past. Well, that was my early 20s, so whatever. Anyway, though, so we see it to the end of the chapter where he tries to rape her, where some type of being actually grabs Joe like a rag doll and just tosses him to the side. And so that's how Marie is saved. And that is the end of the chapter of chapter 15. So we really, I mean, hopefully you go back to my past podcasts and you kind of look at the Get Caught Up and do that. Anyway, I'm going to, it's getting late, a little bit later here. I got some shit to do. Got some errands to run, so I will be running my errands. And but anyway, that's it for chapter 15. So I'm going to end a little early. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I get more viewers. I think I had like 3 viewers, and they all left. But yes. Man. I'll probably be, I might be reading the final chapter tomorrow. I don't know, probably, I think. I should be around the area of downtown Denver, so I might be reading it from that area, from downtown Denver. I don't know. Anyway, though, I'm going to let you all go, and I'm going to do my thing, and I shall see you tomorrow, hopefully. So, checking out The Retired Troll King. Sayonara.